If you're planning a casual or rustic wedding, what could be better than cupcakes for the happy couple? And my pink lemonade cupcakes, well, they're playful and delicious. And they're easy to make too. You're gonna love this recipe. So the first thing I'm going to do is sift all my dry ingredients together in my mixing bowl. I have 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour and 2/3 of a cup of granulated sugar, along with 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Give this a quick sift. And now we need some lemon flavor. Finely grated zest of 1 lemon. And the first thing I do before I add the liquids is whisk the lemon zest into the dry mixture, just to work it in, let that flavor come through. The next step, the liquids. So I like to use buttermilk for this cupcake recipe. Instead of butter for this recipe, I actually like using vegetable oil. I have 1/2 cup here, and the reason I like to do that is it keeps the cupcakes moist and tender for longer. So if they're going to sit out on display, they won't go stale. I've got 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, a teaspoon of vanilla, and for eggs, I have 2 whole eggs and 1 large egg yolk. Give this a little whisk. And I add this all at once to the dry mixture. Mix slowly at first, just to incorporate the dry ingredients. And then once everything's blended, you'll see a few lumps at this point, but that's okay. And just put your elbow into it. You do want to smooth it out, but it's no need to pull out the electric beaters for this one. You can do this by hand. So this just gives a chance for the sugar to dissolve in the batter. And as soon as you see it smooth, it's ready to go. Now remember, I called these pink lemonade cupcakes. Well, this isn't pink. And the difference between lemonade and pink lemonade? Pink color. So I'm going to add 2 drops of pink food coloring gel. You could use paste if you want. When you use the coloring gels, the color is quite intense. So if you're not sure, add 1 drop first. You can always add a second. The best thing for portioning is using a mechanical scoop or an ice cream scoop. You want to fill the cupcakes about 2/3 full. How simple is that? Now, I've preheated my oven to 350, and these only take 15 to 18 minutes. And I test the doneness just by touching the top. If it springs back, I know they're done. And here are my cooled cupcakes, and you can see they retain the pink color even on the outside. Sometimes when you tint a cupcake, it'll brown on top and you don't see it till you rip it open. I love that you can see the pink and you know it's all the way through. So let's make a lemon frosting to match the lemon flavor in the cupcakes and still play on that pink lemonade idea. So I'm going to do a swirl of pink, yellow, and white frosting, but it will be lemon flavored. I have 1.5 cups of unsalted butter. I have my icing sugar here, 6 cups, and I'm first going to add 1/2 of it. And you know, I used to be so fussy about having to sift all your icing sugar before you put it in with your butter. But honestly, you whip this frosting so much that any lumps in the icing sugar work themselves out. So save yourself that step. Of course, low speed when you start. Okay. So once you've got that first batch of icing sugar combined, you can add the second batch. So 6 cups in total. There we go. Now you will find at this point, the frosting is very dense and heavy. I'm adding 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. And now I'll also add my lemon zest. I don't put quite as much lemon zest as I do in the cupcake, simply because I don't want the zest to get stuck in the points of my piping tip. So just a little. And normally I would add either milk or 50/50 cream, but because I added the lemon juice, you need to use whipping cream. So this is a 1/4 cup of cold whipping cream that I'm pouring in. 1/2 teaspoon of salt and my vanilla. Let's get ready to make a pink lemonade twist. Just like with the cupcakes, start with a little, you can always add more. I'm gonna spoon each color into a small piping bag. Once you have your 3 colors lined up, Grab a small piece of plastic wrap. We're gonna pipe about half of the frosting in a large stripe. They don't have to be perfectly measured or perfectly aligned at this point, because they're all going to get intertwined and twisted together. Now, take your large piping bag, drop the whole thing of plastic right in the bag, and then away you go. So pretty. It really sings of pink lemonade. Adds a nice pop of color to any dessert table. And don't feel you have to only serve these at a wedding, of course. Oh, just so playful. I know when you make these cupcakes, you will feel proud, whether it's your wedding or you're bringing them to someone else's. Ooh, another plus of a good cupcake recipe, it peels away easily from the paper. To the happy couple.